Hello, this is Malorian, and this will be a 2,500 point game of my Orcs against some Skaven. So here are the generals. My brother's using his Gracier and all that fun stuff, but on my side I'm taking Super-Orc. So this is a conversion I've wanted to do ever since I saw the new Savage Orc kit with the extended hand. And basically what he is, he's a Savage Orc war boss that has the flying carpet. He has a 2+ armor save and a 1-time reroll. So really just kind of goofy, but the reason for that is that my brother said that, hey, if you want to have a game, you got to take a crappy list. So that's what I'm doing, and we're going to try and dumb it down a bit, and we'll see how it goes. So we're going to be trying out a format that I'm going to be using for our tournament coming up here. So basically you set up the terrain, then you randomly roll to see what type of deployment type you get. We got the diagonal. Then you're going to be placing 2 objective markers, one in your own deployment zone, one in no man's land. So I got the 2 tents that you can see there, back by my Doom Divers and one up by the hill. My brother placed 2 cats, one that's up in the tower, one that's back within his lines. And then you roll off to see what random missions you're going to have yourself. So for mine, I need to be controlling both of my objectives. Each one's worth 1. For him, he needs to be controlling one of his own, and then he needs to get into base with mine, and then spend after that a full movement phase in still base to base. It's based off victory points, and then if you have no objectives met, you get straight victory points. If it's 1, you get a bonus 50%, and then if you get both accomplished, you get a bonus 100%. So for my side, I could easily be defensive, which is great because I've taken this more crappy list, but I know that I can't just sit back against Skaven. I'm going to need to take the fight to him, so we'll see how that's going to go. Plus, to get to that one objective on the left, I'm going to need to get across this river, unfortunately, anyway, so we'll see how that goes. So for my list, from left to right, I have a giant, I have a wolf chariot, a chukka, another giant, another chukka, 50 shield orcs. I got the nether wolf chariot. Then I have this is an old model that's actually the rock lava. I guess it's a really old GW one, so I'm trying it out. I got my wolves, 6 of them, that kind of fast calved up already. I got Super-Orc. I got my 40 Savage Orcs, but these are not biggins, but they have the extra hand weapon. 2 Doom Divers, and on the right I got a unit of Boar Boys with spears and shields, Savage ones with shields, 2 Boar Chariots, and another unit of 50. So hoping to swing around here on the right, and hoping my giants can be helping things out on the left. But the worst one is I only had so much bridge room, and so my savages are going to have to slowly go across the board. So they're really going to be a counter to whatever happens. For my brother, he has a unit of Storm Vermin that are out of screen on the left. Then his Doom Wheel, he has a big unit of Slaves, and in there he has an Engineer with the Doom Rocket, a big huge horde of 100 Clan Rats with hand weapon shield, and in there he has a Warlord that has the Fell Blade. In the back he has his Bunker with his BSB and his Gracier, another unit of Slaves. Then on the right he has a big huge horde of his Plague Monks that have the Reroll Everything banner, and plus his HPA. So my brother got first turn, and really he's just moving on up. Something you should note, that from my list I have no BSB and no magic, but I actually got fairly lucky with magic, and he didn't get anything off this turn, so that was pretty great. And kind of looking how this is set up, I'm pretty sure I have enough forces to deal with the HPA on the right. I know actually the good thing about the chariots and the cavalry is that he doesn't get the thunderstomps against them. Plus, even though I don't like shooting, maybe I have enough shooting to actually do some damage to them. So that could be good. Same thing maybe on the left on the Doom Wheel, but I know the main thing is going to be dealing with that main unit of 100 of his there. And, I just don't have enough to be beating him, and I can't beat him with Super-Orc. He'll hit first, kill my guy. So looking at this, my real thing I'm trying to set up is that I'm going to be looking to take the charge, hopefully hitting him with, first of all, my big huge horde of 50 and the 2 chariots, and hoping all that together will give me enough combat res to break him, and then from there just hope that one of my chariots run him down. But that's going to probably be the big linchpin. So on my turn, my giant goes up and he charges his Doom Wheel. And that went pretty much okay. So in that, first of all, Animosity was all passed, it was all great. He did some grinding to me, took a big old 4 wounds off, which hurt. Then I yelled at him, he got away, and I kind of just overran into his slaves there when I was trying to catch him. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to be very cautious here on the left with the other giant. I mean, if I can just play chicken with those storm vermin, that'd be great. And same thing on the right flank. I'm just trying to slowly encircle that HPA so I can try hitting him with multiple units at once. And then in the center, my savages are just slowly going over the hill. My shooting this turn tried going at the HPA. I think I got 2 damage from everything going at it, but yeah, a little bit disappointing. So in his turn 2, I mean, I'd moved up. One of the things, even silly characters like Super-Orc have their purpose, and taking on a huge horde of these Plague Monks is perfect for him, because even though he'll get a lot of hits on him, it'll be tough for him to wound, even with the reroll, and then my 2+ save will eat a lot of it up. So he's charging in here, but this should be good. You know, Super-Orc should hold him up for a while. On this side, we unfortunately had a bunch of bad luck. He did 1 wound to my giant, and then when I went to roll to do my thing against him, he did no wounds to me. I said the grab end, but unfortunately in my grab, he did a wound to me, so I lost, failed my stubborn 10, and broke. And the worst thing here that you can see is I'm now blocking the line of sight, or where my chariot wanted to get in. So that's one of my chariots that can't join that main combat now. So end of his turn looks like this. His magic didn't get anything done really. His Doom Wheel rallied. A lot of his stuff just moved up. His HPA is moving around so he could charge Super-Orc next turn. He did no wounds to Super-Orc, but because of the musician, he won by 1, and I held. And yeah, otherwise, it's looking okay. I mean, obviously on the left, I'm going to now have to dedicate my giant to a storm vermin, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So on my turn, I try something crazy. I send in my Savage Orc Cav here into his flank of his HPA. Unfortunately, 2 of them tripped in the woods, so that was really bad. And but then things turned around, because when he attacked me, he did 2 wounds. I rolled both of my 6+ tattoo saves. He broke, I ran him down, and so this was fantastic until I ran into the Plague Monks, and now this is really just going to be feeding him combat res to beat me. So now you can see there that, yeah, he killed all the rest of that cav. Super-Orc broke, had to get away. My giant on the left, this was kind of a funny combat. First of all, he attacked me, and he was kind of annoyed that he only did 2 wounds. And then when I attacked back, I did the flail of chain or whatever, or whatever it's called, where I do D6 strength 6 hits, and I got the full 6, but I rolled 5 1s out of 6. So that was pretty crappy, but hey, I was stubborn, and I held, or maybe my Thunder Stomp did something, I can't remember, but either wise, that's all holding there. My giant rallied. On the big charge there, I went in. I won combat by 2 against his big, huge rat unit. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. He still held, so that's pretty horrible. And otherwise, I just finally get my savages outside of the river, but because Super-Orc broke, now he's blocking them, and so all I can really do is I have my Wolf Riders kind of positioned to make sure that he can't flank my chariot. So we'll see how this goes. So his turn 3, he's now finally getting a little bit of magic off. He brought down the toughness of my main unit there, the 50 orcs that were fighting him. I lost combat by 2, and by some amount of miracles, both the shield orcs and the chariot held, so that's good. I mean, maybe I can hold off a little bit longer. He's already taken 1 wound from his fell blade, so I'm hoping that maybe he'll do 1 more, and then I can chance trying to kill him. On the left, I finally won this combat, and now realizing that they actually have a pretty good chance of breaking since they're out of range of the general and the BSB, so I just need to get a little bit of luck there, and then otherwise his Plague Monks are just holding back. So then here on my turn, I bring in my chariot as well against the storm vermin, managed to break them and ran them down, so that's great, but I got this Doom Wheel just ready to counter me. And otherwise, on the right, this was a good combat. Okay, first of all, I failed some animosity where I had to charge in my shield orcs on the right, so they went in the front. I got in my regular boar boys on the flank of his plague monks. I beat him and broke him, and then I rolled double 6s plus something else for my cavalry, and I thought, boom, they're gone. Well, no, he rolled double 6s as well, and of course Skaven get the +1, so he actually got away. So that was kind of silly. My wolf riders failed their animosity, had to charge in, so they're fighting some slaves. And then finally, he beat my shield orcs, ran them down. And so with that being lost, that's huge. There's now pretty much no way I can hold my left objective, no way I can stop him from scoring where he gets into base to base with it. And worse yet, as we just looked into it, and the way that you actually control an objective is where I thought it had to be something that was more than one model. It has to be at least one rank, or at least 5 models of its skirmishing. So that means that my war machines that I thought were holding my back one aren't even holding that. So the way it's looking now, I'm going to be scoring 0 objectives. So definitely not looking good, but all I can try and do now then is try to make sure he doesn't score many of his, and then somehow try and turn this tide of battle around. Unfortunately, he finds a kind of a sneaky thing to do with his slaves. He charges in here and at an angle that it's actually going to put him in base to base with this one objective. So assuming, if somehow my war machine crew can beat him and break him, that'd be one thing, but otherwise he's basically got that one objective. This turn was also harsh because he got off the plague or whatever spell it is, where you have to take a bunch of toughness tests. So he did it to my shield unit. I actually let it through just because I thought, well, they're not doing anything anyway. Kills some of them. Then it bounces over to my savages, which is something I forgot about. Kills a ton of them, so that was just horrible. Let's see here. His big unit of 100 kind of reformed to be facing my savages, and otherwise his bunker's moving up, his plague monks rallied, and you can see his doom wheel zapped both my chariot and the giant, so the whole left flank is completely his. So my turn 4, I'm basically needing to start to get a miracle, so I send in my boar boys into his plague monks. That didn't work out. I failed tons of 3+ saves, and he just slaughtered me and just turned around. And then otherwise, I'm really trying to focus on his bunker. So all my war machines are just pounding his bunker. Brought it down enough that he had to take a test, but he held. And you can see that Super-Orc is flying over there to try and finish them off. The shield orcs went into the building. The savage orcs reformed so they can try and deal with his warlord. Maybe, he can't really charge through there, but maybe I can charge through and kill his warlord, but we'll have to see. His turn 5, his engineer goes out of the unit. He shoots the doom rocket at the savages, kills another handful of them. All of his characters flee from the bunker, his BSB and his Gracier, go into his big unit of 100, and then he's just trying to scuttle back with his plague monks to try and hold his own objective back there, the one that's the cat in his force. Meanwhile, the doom wheel is coming over. The bunker is just trying to get in Super-Orc's way, but really with him flying, he can't do that, and yeah. So my turn 5, just trying to do some desperate stuff here. He's still only taken the 1 wound from the fell blade, but I'm hoping the savages going in there can finish him off, try and score some points. Meanwhile, Super-Orc is just going after his doom wheel, but that's a pretty risky combat. And yeah, just some meagerly mixed results here. Super-Orc did his thing. He took 2 wounds, which was kind of on the high side. He probably should have just taken 1. But anyway, I beat the doom wheel, but the doom wheel got away. The savages, I need 5s to hit and then 4s to wound. I didn't cause a single wound. So I was completely, I think he even just wiped out. Just completely wiped out after that. Or maybe I was ran down and he ran into the flank of my wolves, so they're all screwed. And otherwise I did some shooting into his monks and killed some, but they passed their panic test. So Skaven last turn. Sorry, I forgot to mention that the one other Chukka had shot into his engineer and killed him. So the slaves get revenge. They charge in, wipe out that Chukka. His doom wheel rallies. He of course kills all the wolf riders, and his monks are just moving back onto his one objective there. And then finally on my turn, really nothing really matters at this point. I tried to do some shooting at the plague monks. It's not enough even for a panic test. And then Super-Orc charges in here, hoping to finish off the doom wheel, but when he does the grind the foe, he does the 1 more wound and kills poor little Super-Orc. So, a pretty massive victory to the Skaven. I mean, when you think of it, not only did he beat me in victory points, but he scored both of his objectives. I scored none of mine. So, it would have been a huge, huge massacre as far as points are concerned. Looking at it, it would have been nice to have some magic in here and, the BSB to make sure that the general or the giant didn't break and stuff. But you know what? I still think I had enough going for me that I could have pulled this off. I'd say that the major thing that really killed it for me is, first of all, having it so that my giant broke there and blocked the chariot, so I wasn't able to win that key combat against the warlord there. And two, not really knowing my own rules. And to be fair, these rules used to be set up so that the model or the unit holding the objectives just had to be more than one model, but I forgot that for this tournament I set it to being one rank. So what I should have done then is probably just had my Savage Orcs holding back, or maybe my Wolf Riders holding back or something, but really just at least something to help me hold my own objectives. Either way, running Super-Orc was a lot of fun, flying around, beating up some Plague Monks, scaring the bunker, all that stuff. So that was all good. The other thing that me and my brother talked about was all my war machines. And so from my brother's part, he was really taken aback by how effective they were. I mean, when I was trying to blast his bunker and I was, how many was the small blast covering? And it was, 16 or whatever he was saying. He's like, oh man, this is so devastating. But when I talked to him after, I said, well, look at it. Even when I was covering that many, it only killed, about half of them. They never actually scored me any victory points whatsoever. I had a lot of points into these various war machines. I could have had a good-sized unit of Black Orcs, and they would have been a lot more effective. So, I know some people out there still love the war machines. This one didn't really sell it for me. If anything, I maybe like the rock lava a little bit more, but still in regular competitive games I wouldn't take them. So anyway, hope you like the mission, hope you like Super-Orc, and we'll see you later. Bye.